Congressman LaTourette, thank you for joining us again. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done one of these. The House and Senate have been in recess, and they are finally back. So we're back.
Right.
So I wanted to start off asking you about Syria. It's obviously been the question that has been dominating the news for the last couple of weeks, and it seems like there has been a never-ending kind of up and down on this. What do you think about the process as it's played out, and where do you think it's going?
Well, I think, Chris, the good news is that it looks like a resolution is on its way with Secretary of State Kerry meeting with the Russian foreign minister and taking this idea that Syria would put its chemical weapons under international control. If that works, that would be a great win. I think that, in the last 48 hours, it's been a big switch from, a vote that was probably going to fail in both the House and the Senate. They might have squeaked it through in the Senate. But clearly, this is a good step for not only President Obama, but there's I don't know if our viewers could hear it, but a collective sigh of relief coming from Capitol Hill that nobody has to take this vote, and so it looks like there's not going to be a vote.
And do you think that's good for the process and for executive power that we not have a vote? I mean, were we risking a embarrassment for the president and diminishing of the commander-in-chief role?
Yeah, I think most people believe that the president had the authority to take military action without asking the Congress, when whoever sort of boxed him into the corner where he made that request. All signs were that he could have lost in the Senate and he was going to lose in the House big. And that wouldn't have been good for the president. The longstanding tradition is no matter who the president is, when we deal with matters of foreign affairs and war and things of that nature, the president's the president, and we should, if we're going to disagree, do it behind closed doors and not sort of have the world see. It wouldn't have been a good thing.
Well, if there's anything that's more complicated than the situation in Syria, it's the continuing resolution that we're all expecting to come to continue to fund the government. There's been an interesting proposal that has been floated in the House. Talk to us about that proposal.
Well, what the Republican leadership laid out was that there would be almost two votes, one on a resolution that would fund the government through December, and it would have as its centerpiece, no shock here, the repeal of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. And then there would be a separate, cleaner CR that would fund the government again through December, wouldn't mention Obamacare, but would be at sequester levels. And so the game plan was that they would put both of these to a vote in the House, send it over to the Senate. Nobody believes that the Senate's going to vote to defund Obamacare, so they would have passed the second one, sent it to the president, and we would have been out of this government shutdown mode. Well, a funny thing happened, on the way to this vote, and the same 30 to 40 House Republicans who have really been the fly in the ointment to the House leadership since the last Congress began said they don't like it. And so as a result, the vote has been scrapped as of now. It may occur sometime during the week of the 16th, but to be determined. And the other thing that's happened that's interesting is that the House was only supposed to be in session 9 days or 11 days this month. They are now indicating that the Majority Leader, Mr. Cantor, is going to cancel the home district work period for the week of the 23rd and actually have Congress in session. And that really makes sense. I mean, what you do is you run out of days when you're in session to, even if you work like crazy and you had a big agreement, there are still requirements that bills lay over for a particular period of time and they have to get back and forth to the Senate. So I think that Mr. Cantor's thinking pretty clearly if he does that.
This has got to be a little frustrating for Republican leadership in the House. I mean, it seems like the political winner was this kind of two-pronged approach where you vote on Obamacare repeal, which is popular, and you don't run the risk of shutting down the government. I mean, how frustrating do you think this is for leadership?
Well, there's an article in one of the papers today that it looks like no matter what they do, Speaker Boehner and Leader Cantor can't lead this bunch. I mean, it's the bunch that just won't be led. And my perspective is, again, they have snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory, and that's just the way they operate. And you know, you can have all these strongly felt convictions, but at the end of the day, there has to be a plan B. And without figuring out a path forward, I mean, the essence is the government will shut down, and that's not just a bumper sticker. I mean, that really, in a lot of studies, it says it costs more to shut the government down than it does to keep it open. And then the other thing, we're going to run into this debt ceiling in October again, and the prospect of the United States defaulting on its obligations is real. Somebody's got to take control, and at this moment in time, there's nobody in either party, any branch of government, that's given any sign that they're going to step up to the plate and take charge of this thing.
Well, that brings me to my third and final question. And you raise a point about the limited amount of time that we have left, even if they end up canceling the work recess. What can we reasonably expect to happen? I mean, we've got the fight brewing over the continuing resolution. We've got to deal with the debt ceiling increase in October. What else can we reasonably expect to happen over the next couple of weeks and months, or is that it?
That's it, I think. You know, the gangs that were dealing with immigration reform, if you'll pick up the paper and they're still optimistic they're going to get something done, they're smoking something. I mean, there's nothing that's going to happen this calendar year. And the same thing with all of the other issues that we've talked about during the course of the year. They did introduce a bipartisan water bill, water infrastructure bill, rolled it out of the House. It's already passed the Senate. Maybe something like that could sneak through. But short of that, I just don't see much changing.
I saw a report this morning that said that a failure to pass a new farm bill could result in the price of a gallon of milk going up to over $6.
Right.
I mean, are stories like this going to be able to force the Congress into doing something, or do we just have this batch of 30 to 40 folks who just don't care and aren't doing anything?
I think that, you know, in the old days, or even the recent past, if you said, oh, the cost of milk's going to go up to $6 if we don't do something, that would have, in fact, spurred people to do something. But we've had sort of these flashing yellow lights for a couple of years now that if you don't do this, this is going to happen. And there are a group of folks that just don't care, and they'll just drive straight through them. Now, having said that, when we had sequestration, which still is the law of the land, and we're going to keep those automatic cuts in place, when people squeal enough, like when they were stuck at airports trying to go on vacation, you will get that rifle shot, oh, well, of course we're going to keep air traffic control open and we're not going to furlough them. And I imagine, you know, if moms and dads are paying $6 for a gallon of milk and they start screaming, which they should, maybe. But again, it's not going to be, well, we better do the right thing and fix all this stuff and do the things that we're supposed to be doing. They'll do something with the milk support and walk home and sort of say, well, we took care of that squeaky wheel and now we'll do something else.
Right. They want to avoid a soccer mom riot.
That's right.
Congressman Latret, thank you for joining us. We look forward to talking about these issues in the weeks and months ahead.
Me too. I'm glad to be back.